Ladies and gentlemen, well, welcome to Meet People, the podcast of the Southwest Meat Association. I can't wait to have these conversations, and we're going to do everything we can to make it entertaining and valuable and a great representation of meeting the people. All right, Meet People. It's time to do it again. We've got Amber Ondrusek with Columbia Packing here to tell us the story of a 100-year business, of an SMA founding company, of business and the meat business. And I'm going to ask, what's it like being a woman in the meat business? There's so many fun things to explore. So welcome. Like lots of so's there. I certainly want to welcome you to the show and thank you so much for your time. It goes to say, or I should say this, the SMA podcast, Meet People, is impossible without the people to kind of give us time. This is not making you money.
Right.
You're spending time here with us that is just basically a donation to the cause.
Well, that's SMA.
That's right.
Learning from one another and having that opportunity.
That's so true. And we've already seen a lot of kind of truth around that. Why don't, for everybody who doesn't know, and I assume a lot of people are going to be like, oh, I know Amber. Gosh, this is fun. I kind of like hearing her talk about the business. What's the baseline kind of 1, 2, 3? Where did Columbia come from? How is it here for 100 years?
Oh, the story of Columbia, or what we're doing daily now?
The story.
The story.
We want to hear some daily stuff too, but
story is great-grandfather Joseph came over here from Czechoslovakia, 1913. And that was before the Stockyard Act came into effect. So you had a big three, Armour and Swift and I think Morris were kind of the big players, and were holding the stockyards and the railroads. And so protein, especially he came in through Galveston, so especially south, wasn't plentiful.
yeah.
You know, you had to rely on somebody else and their prices. So he already had that trade coming over from Czechoslovakia to know how to slaughter and butcher the different proteins. So he was doing that, and then for his neighbors, and I'm going to say it was fate, because he continued to do that, and then we incorporated in 23, moved locations from what my dad says is more Deep Ellum to 11th Street, where we were for 80-something years. So,
oh, man, those numbers are just huge.
They are.
You said 23, and I'm thinking 1923.
Yeah.
I don't even know why I whispered it, but it's like, imagine if you had gone to sleep in 1923, and woke up in 2023. What a shock that would be.
Well, you can turn around and look at those pictures. That's my grandfather and great-grandfathers behind the counter, and those are original documents of our business. So we have a lot of history here, and me being fourth generation, I try to live up to all of the woes that came from those 100 years that they've gone through to make this company successful. So
see around,
yeah.
It's like, that's part of business sometimes, is surviving, be successful, navigate, pivot, navigate the craziness of, imagine, what was his name? Joseph?
Mm-hmm.
What his life, just getting here. Oh my goodness.
Well, I can tell you that his son, Willie, which was our second generation, would not have been a fan of the female sitting that you were saying. What is it like to be a female in the industry?
Right.
He was completely against it. His daughter wasn't allowed to be a part of the company. And so I am grateful that my dad and my Uncle Bob decided that a female could be a part of the not a part of the company, but have a leadership role in it.
Sure.
So.
And you're the pinnacle.
I am.
That's right. Which is, it's a great illustration of our history doesn't have to be our present or future.
It isn't.
But it doesn't mean it's irrelevant. There's so many things to weave in there. Like, okay, cool. That was a bad decision. Maybe we don't want to make that one in the future.
Right.
So much of that. All right. So great. Thanks for that kind of early, how did Columbia get here? 1923 incorporated.
Right. So in the
That's such a
50s is
timeline.
when Willie went in and met with some of the, I don't remember, I think it was called Swamp at that time. And I don't remember what that actually stands for. I just remember my dad and Bob saying that name over and over again, which
Yeah,
was the early.
Southwestern Meat Processors
Okay.
Association,
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah. So in the 50s, he received a Pioneer Award from SMA because of his contributions and different things that he was doing with them at the time. And he had a health issue in the 80s. And so Bob stepped up to the plate and became involved with SMA, which led into the early 2000s, I believe, is when Bob was recognized for his contributions for Columbia's contributions to SMA, and the scholarship
Yeah.
became into existence.
Everybody's got a story about Bob. Do you?
Oh, I have lots. Oh, I have lots. Yeah. Fortunately for us, his son, Rusty, has that work hard, do a good job, but make it fun.
Yeah.
And I think Bob, that's what everybody remembers. That's what those stories are,
Sure.
is he wanted to make Columbia successful or SMA successful, but he was going to have a good time doing it. And I know Rusty's proud to continue that legacy of making that work hard
Yeah.
and be successful as a company.
I learned
mentality.
it on the ranch.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to work hard. You're going to sweat, and it's going to be monotonous at times. And sometimes you're going to think, why am I doing this? But if we do it together and we kind of find ways to poke a little fun at each other or play a little prank here.
Yeah. Make the day interesting.
That's right. But at the end of the day, we all look back and say, look what we accomplished. All right. So there we go. That was Bob. That's Rusty. Let's tell, what about Jeff? These family things are so interesting to me because I come from a family business, and there's big personalities, and there's super integral pieces or mindsets or perspectives that aren't as big, maybe less known. So tell me a little bit about your dad.
Dad was, I was trying to think of a story for him, and that kind of relates to Columbia. I was talking to Carl, my brother, about it. And one of the things that we both said was we would remember when the holidays would be on course, because he would September, October start coming home, and when he's tucking us in bed, we still smell like smoke.
Yeah. We know the holidays are coming.
He was still at that age. That was after my grandfather had passed. He was president of the company, but he was still in the back working on the hams, working on the bacon, and getting everything ready for fourth quarter, because that's what it takes to be an owner. So some days you're signing checks, and some days you're in the back, and some days you're playing janitor. You gotta, like I was saying earlier, pivot. You have to know how to do those things. And I think he was really good at doing that. He could wear all kinds of different hats and feel comfortable in the situations. And the best part to me, kind of going back to that female angle that you said, was I don't think a lot of women get to know their dads very well. And I got to know him as a business owner, as a leader in the community. And I got to have lunch with him every day. And we got to talk about my son, his grandkids, and my desk was right next to his. So I got to absorb not only what was written down as what we stand for, but I got to listen to how he handled a customer or a bank or an insurance policy or whatever. There was the day-to-day things that you're trying to say, this is what we do and this is how we do it. Comes across, but listening to it in the moment, and maybe some of the benefits or the downfalls of it, being able to be in the moment of that, I think was very good for me. It's
bad about all this remote working.
Yeah.
True. There's good things about it too. I'm not saying that I know I don't have any crystal ball what's perfect, but you miss that.
Yeah.
If you don't have an office
group setting
where people come and you're listening through the wall.
Right.
Or meeting the people that walk in to say hi. I mean, it's just so many like
small moments.
More is caught than taught.
Yeah.
And you're just catching the culture by being in it.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's so cool. Thanks for sharing it. I've always enjoyed enjoyed the times I talked to Joe, and he's a cool dude. So so you sat there. Did he encourage you to come have this desk next to him? Did you
Um,
kind of go grab it?
n-
What
it's been a little bit of a push for me to get into the business. We all weren't on the same page at the same time of me joining, and then it's been a little customer base. I think it was a little hesitant as well. My first customers that Dad gave me were the Tom Thumbs, Albertsons, and a little older group at the time. Back then, they were still cutting meat. It was kind of before it was Walmart was in, but it wasn't quite as everything comes in already packaged.
Yeah.
There were still quite a few Tom Thumbs, Tom and Davids that were cutting meat, still getting sides of beef or sides of pork from us, and still actually knowing how to break down a side. So, older school gentlemen that were seeing a 20-year-old
20 years. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So so did you go from high school to college to working at Columbia?
directly. Yes.
Yeah, see,
Yeah. So
that's a
I
cool
graduated.
story.
Yeah, I graduated Texas State in '98 and started at Columbia. I started a little earlier because that was the days of HACCP, and your flow charts and all your different things were on computer. Well, Columbia had our industry is known to have a little antiquated system of computing. So I had those knowledge because I was taking those classes. So I knew how to make a flow chart or an Excel or whatever, which sounds funny to anybody who's probably listening. There's the younger group that are like, what was life before Excel? Well, there was columnar pads.
Yeah, right.
You figured out your
You
balance sheet by
plop
that.
a checkbook down in
Yep.
front of that group, and they don't know what you're doing.
Right.
What is that?
Yeah.
So
So
this-
I was in college, helped with the HACCP program, just putting it on paper and getting some of those things in my system that I had down there. So started a little before that to understand because if you understand somebody's HACCP program, you know a lot about that company.
I've told this multiple times. I'll say it again. I mean, people that are listening to every episode are going to hear the same story from Neil occasionally, but it's that when I went to work in the industry, that was the first job or the first thing Cody, which hired me, said is, okay, when you show up, know what HACCP means. And I was like, is that even a word? What is that? But it's still a super valuable piece of my knowledge to have gone through writing a HACCP plan,
Right.
negotiating, debating, and critical control points. How does this flow? Oh, you totally skipped a piece of the flow. Like, oh yeah, that's right. That happens. I don't even think it was
Right.
worth writing down.
It's automatic. Yeah.
You said it best. When you know somebody's HACCP plan, you know their business,
Yep.
their production model, and that's a great.
Well,
place
and all
for
the different
somebody
things that they're doing because you're having a different plan for each one of the options of products that they're making, whether it's private label or yours or whatever. You got to notate that information. So yeah, it was a good peek in to.
Well, no,
behind the
nobody
doors.
can run something by you. Like if you can smell a rat
Yeah.
in a conference meeting or call or something, somebody said, well, just that XYZ thing's not working. What? No, that doesn't sound right. Oh, yeah.
Right.
I always like being able to say, look, I've done it. I might have done it not yesterday, but I've enough to be like not totally oblivious to what it takes.
Right.
Okay, so you came in the HACCP.
Yep.
How long or what did it take to be the top dog?
Well, Dad didn't retire. He was working on it, but he did not retire. He was still coming in. Actually, he came in the day before he passed. So I think it's hard. I think you'll probably find it with a lot of family companies in particular that you grow up and this is every fiber of your being. It's not something you walk away from at 5 o'clock or whatever time you're leaving, or that you don't think about on vacation, or that you honestly don't talk about at family holidays because that's what y'all's
right.
lives are. So I think it was just really hard for him he could do the vacations, he could take some time off, but he never could step away from the life. And that's what it is. It's your life.
It's almost like if I ever give that up, I'll just die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's part of I see it in ranchers. But I don't know, it's even fair to say that. It's in all kinds of businesses.
Right.
Like people that's their thing. And I kind of support it. I like the older generation staying involved as long as they can. The tough piece to navigate, in my opinion, you can put your 2 cents in here too, is the transition.
It is.
It's like, oh man, I've carried this baton for so long. I don't know how to go. I just open my
He
hand and
did a
give it
good
to you.
job because he was doing some of the longer vacations and staying away from the company long enough that people were coming to me and asking the questions rather than waiting the 3 weeks for him to come back from vacation and asking him. And he would be like, "Hey, why didn't you talk to her?" And they were like, "Because you're the guy."
Right.
So, and also at that time, we had moved from 11th Street to the other two locations. So it was a different transition than just one person at the helm. Carl and Rusty both had stepped up and transitioned into their roles of owners and managers and all the different hats that they get to wear at each one of their plants. So it was a transition that, I mean, was very slow because each one of those moves were not done at the same time, obviously. But I think that kind of let the opportunity happen where the baton got shifted and not was a complete handover where it
Yeah.
just felt like, gosh, I was reporting to this person this day and this person over here now is in charge. So,
And you kind of have to earn those stripes with the people too. I mean,
right.
it's hard. It would be hard for Joe in this instance to just say, "Oh, talk to Amber now,"
Yeah.
because people are like, well, but I don't even really know Amber. I mean, she's your daughter, and we've seen her, and I know that's her, but I don't know what she's going to expect or how she's going to think
Right.
about things. So,
Well, and that's the nice thing with us working with our dads is, and I was saying with him sitting next to me, you're exemplifying what they do. There wasn't a company shift of any sorts of what an employee was going to see, a customer was going to see, a vendor was going to see in Columbia. It was going to be a different name at the bottom of the check and a different meeting, but it was still business as usual because that's how we grew up. We were just following in their footsteps of what
built.
the culture and the values and all the different things that they've taught us as humans and as business leaders.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I just imagine he was a similar parent as he was to a leader in the business.
Yeah.
Wow, thanks for kind of walking us down that road. You mentioned two different facilities.
Yes. So
So that's
Rusty,
got to be interesting to navigate. So we've been here at this place for 80 years,
yes.
and now we're going. What
First,
was
it
that?
was the harvest facility in Como, Texas, and that's where Carl's at. So pork.
What time out? Where's Como?
Como is biggest small city. It would be Sulphur Springs.
Okay. Okay.
So he's out there harvesting pork, and that's mostly for our Asian and Hispanic grocery stores.
Yeah.
They still do a lot of fresh meat for their stores. And then Rusty's at our new facility in Ennis, and that is further production. So cutting, smoking, curing for us, for private labeling, for all kinds of different
Yeah.
things. Our smokehouse is out there for
Did you build that
bacon.
one from the ground up?
Yes.
So see,
Rusty did that. That
if
was
anybody's ever built a house, and now just try to multiply that by, I don't know, 10,000
right.
to build a plant, have it flow right, have
Correct.
all the fire suppression, all the permits,
Refrigeration.
It's just
Yeah.
this massive, crazy, complicated project. Was
It was
the
it was
Como plant pre-existing?
it was
Or,
pre-existing,
all right.
yeah. So it was really nice with Ennis coming from the 80-year-old business. You're with HACCP and cross species and fully cooked to non-fully cooked, and you've got all the different things that you've added onto this building in so many different ways that it's
Sure.
really hard that you're having to do some cleanup and over here and just it was a little bit of a puzzle. So when Rusty laid this one out, he did a great job of having that in mind and helping us not have to cross over those
Oh,
boundaries
yeah.
and
I mean,
make it flow
if
better.
you think about anybody that's been in a business for long enough to have to do an addition to grow and has experienced the luck of getting to grow and all those things, it just starts being this jigsaw puzzle you can't unwind
Right.
because,
Yeah, because you can't predict the future that you're going to need
and
a
you don't
blast
have
freezer. You're going to
unlimited
need
funds
yeah,
and all these things.
yeah,
And it was 80 years old.
right.
So there's wood, there's like the
Brick.
materials are
Yeah,
totally different now than
yeah.
they were then. That's not make them bad or any other
No,
thing.
no,
They're
no.
just totally different.
Yeah,
And people in the business are going to understand wood's a bit problematic because how do you clean it? How do you
right.
really protect some of the pieces of that. And it's doable, but it just creates this complication
Right.
that has to
Especially
be.
with us with refrigeration, your floor heaving and all that. It becomes a monster that you didn't even know you had created from one room to the other.
That's totally right.
So no, this has been great for us. I think it's when you go through some hard times and you end up with something great on the other side of it, you look back and you think, yeah, that was his plan. That was God's plan. Like we ended up here because we had to go through this bad stuff, but
Oh man, the
here,
hard times.
here we are, and look how far now we can go with this new place and new generation, because we've got Rusty's son, 5th generation, and my son will be graduating in December. So
Is your son interested?
from as a really young kid, he was, and then it's just exponentially gotten
Which way is he tweaked? Is he kind of tweaked to
finance. No,
finance?
So he's been working at a bank in St. Marcus because, as we were just saying about computers and whatever, we're still cash business a little bit. So I wanted him to be familiar with money.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like everybody that has their debit card or their charge card, or it's a concept that is not quite real.
Yeah.
And as a business owner, you need for that to be real.
Yeah.
That your inventory, all your money is right down below you. What you have in the bank is here, but what you have there, and you have to understand what that value is of trying to buy a new multivac or whatever. You need to understand the banking side of it. And so I was trying to let him have first of all, he needed to work, but second of all, he needed that, I think, exposure to something other than walking into being a 5th generation and walking into a company as an owner. I think it is a hard transition as a 20-year-old to walk in and know that this is your future.
Sure. Well, it makes me happy that he's interested. A lot of kids aren't. They just want to go do another thing. I think I kind of was thinking just now, I wish Amber would have mentored me a little bit, because I just thought bankers were a pain in the tail, and they just, all they want to do is secure everything I've got and give me this little small amount of money. That's how I felt, because I didn't understand it.
Right.
Now I've been in the business a little while. I've got some great bankers to work with.
Yes.
So I thought it was just really cool that he's kind of tweaked that way. And as a family, you need everybody not to like the same thing.
Yes.
If everybody wanted to be a salesperson, you're not going to have anybody paying attention to the financials or the production or these other pieces that are so integral.
I think those are a little bit more teachable. The finance, trying to for me to understand it, I think would have been going, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I think it'll be a positive for us that he has that. And I think hopefully we've got some, lifers is what I call them at Ennis, that I think can teach him the production side of it and explain to him why they do the line the way they're doing it, or what their methods are. So I hope that, and he'll go to HACCP school through SMA. He'll need to do that part as well, because we just agreed that's integral to it. So I think there'll be some stuff on, like you just said, everybody being interested in the same thing. I think he can learn some of those things.
He can learn those, be aware and knowledgeable, but like a core competency, it's like you just can't be world class at everything. You're only going to be world class at maybe one thing, two. It's like something that's going to be, what's it called, the 10,000 hour rule or something. If you spend 10,000 hours on something, you're going to be in the top 1% of people that do that thing, whatever it is.
Yeah, you're supposed to learn 18 minutes a day for your 100 hours or something. I've read that you're supposed to really. I'm trying to do that with Duolingo. I don't know how successful I'm going to be at that.
So you're trying to learn a language right now?
Spanish. Yeah. It's
so valuable.
It is.
To have a couple languages. I was working in the plant, and I had one of the guys would teach me a word a day. Like, it'd just be any tool we'd see, he'd tell me how to say that word. Then the next day, what was that word? So next thing I know, I had a lot of words. I don't really know how to put them together, but I can listen and I can
Pick up.
catch the words. And I'm like, okay, they're talking about that machine over there. Something broke.
You're right.
I can kind of keep up. So it was fun. Now it's not, I'm like, I haven't used it in a while. He also told me, watch Spanish TV and listen to Spanish radio. So every day on my commute, I was just listening to Spanish radio. Si es mexicano dijeron, which is basically Family Feud.
Yeah.
And so next thing you know, I had a dream in Spanish. And it was like, hey, you're really starting to pick this up.
You are.
Yeah. So that'll be when you know.
Yeah.
When you have a dream in Spanish, you'll know it's all really sinking in. You mentioned SMA a minute ago, and this conversation is such a highlight of the family feeling that SMA has. I want anybody listening. I mean, a lot of you are going to be SMA members. Some are going to be just people, friends of Amber's that are industry people that may not be members. SMA is a family. We invite you to come be a part of it, be involved. We don't pay your dues and disappear till next year.
Yeah, get the newsletter.
Yeah, right. We want you to come to the convention.
Although it's really good, Lacey.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, these podcasts are going to get out to the people on the newsletter. So it's going to tell people, hey, we're doing something. We're talking about these businesses. The stories you've just told, people will relate to. The stories, some of it is going to be things like, oh, cool. They happen to be in that tough time in the business for whatever reason. They lost a big customer. Who knows what it could be? There's a million causes that can be like, oh my God, this ship is going down and we can't stop it.
Well, I think it's SMA to me. It's community. It doesn't feel like the association. It does feel, like you said, family, community. It's customers, it's vendors, it's competitors, and the real conversations that you can have after the speaker, which I find to be very interesting because reading a publication I'm getting parts of it, but actually listen to a speaker, I think especially for midwinter, or whatever the new name of it is, is great to start off the year because it kind of switches it from your fourth quarter busy time to, okay, what do I need to be planning for this year? Like what industry changes are there with, I don't know, directives or any of those, the kind of things that we discuss at convention. It's kind of eye-opening and helps you understand what the new trends are and pitfalls are going to be.
To me, it lays the court out.
It does.
It's like we're all playing a game of business, and what's the court going to look like? Is it all of a sudden longer, shorter, some kind of crazy trapezoid shape? It's like it helps keep you abreast of what the court changes may look like. And just for that analogy of a ball game.
Because I remember at one of them not too long ago, DOT came up and there was a speaker on that. And it was not all of us are the same. Some of us are just packers. Some of us are just harvest. Some of us are, there's different, we all have our little niche and that's what makes SMA great. But we have a fleet and the speaker was kind of eye-opening of all the different new regulations coming out. And I think that was maybe when Prop 12 was coming out. Anyways, it was eye-opening of different states as well. So what was in the pipeline coming. So I appreciate that too, where it's something that's going on in my company, but I wasn't quite thinking about, you're thinking about USDA stuff or TCEQ stuff or,
are we going to make the
whatever.
Next payroll? How are we going to buy that new piece of equipment? It's just like this huge list of things. That's what's good about the convention. Going away from the office, cell phone off for a little while, and just kind of saying, okay, cool, let me just see what's happening here for a minute or two, because it's hard to do when you're in this office.
Yes.
I mean, just this time we're talking, I guarantee you've got a bunch of emails, you've got a bunch of text messages. You're just ignoring them for this moment. And as soon as we get done, you're going to be back to
Shift
work.
Back in,
Back in the business. Being a business owner, knowing that lots of people that come to SMA are the leaders of the business or they own the business. And I've talked to so many of them, not just on the podcast, but in my career.
Right.
They just tell you, don't be a dummy.
Right.
Come do this, because it's easy to not do it. It's easy to say, I can't get away. The place is going to just go to pieces if I leave. No, it won't. You got good people. You got time to come be a part of this thing. I did have a note that I was just like, what was your favorite thing? What is the favorite thing you do? Like, and you mentioned, what is it we do today? Is there something there that we haven't covered? Are there certain markets? You mentioned Asian and Mexican that are kind of emerging or getting better or kind of going away and you're having to figure out how to replace them? That was about 10 questions.
Not really. My favorite thing is seeing our trucks on the road or seeing our product in a store or having someone, our hams, having the 3 generations ago lady that talked to my dad on the phone and asking for him still, and she wants one of our hams. She doesn't know what store it's in. Where's she going to find this ham? And it means a lot that you remember a food product
Yeah.
so for so long, and that's the staple of your dinner table, especially for holiday. I mean, gosh, what an honor to be the centerpiece of somebody's holiday, and they're picking you of all the things. Like, it's so easy just to walk into a grocery store and see that bunker and that ham's on sale, and you could pick that up. But it means something to me that we have those longstanding customers that are reaching out to us and wanting a product that they grew up eating or that is a little different than what they could buy at the grocery.
Or it reminds them of a relationship they had with your dad. I
Right.
mean, some of those, that's what is important, is these relationships. It's what we're talking about. It's why we do the podcast, to have relationships, to have conversations that people can hear. I mean, they could be sitting in here listening to us have this conversation.
Right.
I'm just curious, like, I don't know you real well,
Right.
but now I know you a lot better. And now when I see you, wherever I may see you, I'll be, Amber, hey, remember we were talking about that and you said, I'm having a similar experience. Tell me again what we were saying.
Right.
So that's the value of it to me. It's just, I think humans are kind of meant to. Oh, and the other thing about that ham is it's a responsibility. Like, so as business owners, as businesses, as employees, we have a responsibility to that lady to deliver
Yeah.
her that high quality thing.
Right.
I mean, it's like why you can't lose focus.
It is.
Which
Yeah.
is hard because you're also trying to make money. I mean, it's such a dynamic thing. So I just big high five to you for
Thanks.
keeping kind of a finger on that and leading a team of great family members. 'Cause
Right.
that's another hard thing who do it so good.
Well, and the employees that are sticking around, I think that's important too, because
Lifers.
I mean, I've got a handful of 30 plus. I mean, I've learned a lot from them. Honestly,
Yeah.
I learned a lot from Dad, but I also have learned a lot from our employees of their experiences here and the way that they believe in our company. It gives me purpose to make it a 5th generation company.
Is there any one or two of those that we should mention their name? Just to be like,
Oh, sure. Jimmy Liska, which is our CFO. Manuel Robledo is the one in Ennis that I was referring to earlier.
yeah.
Van Wyn has been in our sale. Well, it started in our finance and is in sales. So yeah, no, there's
I guarantee there are
across the
times
board.
when you're like, oh, I need to talk to Manuel about this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like,
No, that's every day.
But also, oh, that thing happened a few years ago. I can't remember
product.
who was that person. What was
Yeah.
that product? Let's ask Manuel. And Manuel's like, oh yeah, man, that was this thing. Remember that was so cool. Or no, that ain't gonna go.
I was just thinking tallow's coming back so strong and whatever.
Yeah.
We used to have the cracklins and do all of that. I went and asked, did we used to do tallow? Was that something that we were doing? No, it was what I was remembering in my head of, because I could even picture it in the map of the plant. I was like, it was through the doors and it was over kind of to the left. It was a big metal cauldron. Like, what was it? Cauldron? What was it? Was it beef? Was it pork? And they were like, no, that's where we were doing the crackling. So,
Yeah.
which I think employees ate more than we sold, because you walk through there, it smells great. Grab a handful.
I just got back from a trip visiting a plant that makes rendered skins, pellets, basically for cracklings. They also pop them. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was the trick to doing this.
Right.
This is so cool. And
Yeah.
you're right. It's like, those are so good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I mean, I think I could keep asking questions, but you have a job to do. You have a business to run, and the SMA so much appreciates you, Columbia, the whole family, for
Thank you.
everything you do.
Yeah.
I'm speaking on their behalf.
Yeah.
I think that I can.
Oh
And
yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I appreciate you taking the time to drive all the way up here and do the interview.
Well, it just wouldn't be the same over the phone. It's just like we were
No.
talking about. It's that in-office experience is worth have it.
It is.
Thanks for listening, everybody. That's Meet People with Amber Ondrusek and Columbia Packet.